Happy New Year, guys. I hope you enjoyed the holidays. Let's start off the year by giving you my recommendation on the best performance cars for under $10,000. Performance cars can range from a few $1,000s to millions of dollars. It may be overwhelming for someone new trying to buy their first performance car. Being that budget may also be the case here, I'm only going to mention cars which have decent reliability and built from the early 2000s onwards, because nobody wants to be stranded on the road or have to replace every bushing because it's an old car. So in this case, no rotaries, boxers, or DSMs will be mentioned. I'll save them for another video. There is no particular order in which I'll be presenting these cars, so let's start off with the Nissan 350Z, which sold from 2002 to 2009. It can be found as a rear-wheel drive two-seater coupe or convertible. There were also many trims offered, such as the Base, Enthusiast, Performance, Touring, Track, and Nismo. Buy all the other trims except the Base, because the Base did not include a viscous limited slip differential in the rear. The Nismo may be more than $10,000, but you can still get the other trims for $10,000 or less. I don't feel that the Nismo offers that much more performance per dollar. Buying a 350Z, you start off with a more powerful 3.5-liter V6 ranging from 287 horsepower to 306 horsepower. A 5-speed automatic or 6-speed manual transmission is offered. The 6-speed manual transmission would be the one to purchase. Brembo brake packages were also offered to help with stopping power. There were oil consumption issues with earlier versions of the VQ35DE, and it seems to be more apparent with the rev-up version sold from 2005 to 2007. To add to the problems, there was also a transmission grind issue also with earlier transmissions. The best bet is to buy a 2007 to 2009 350Z with the VQ35HR, which should have these issues resolved. The VQ35HR is distinguishable by its two dual intakes located on both sides of the engine bay. You can tell which motor you have by these features on the front of the engine. The 350Z did get a facelift for 2007. You can distinguish it by the bulge on the hood. If you don't like the 350Z body style or need more room, then you can purchase the G35, which comes in a coupe or sedan and has a back seat for additional passengers. There was also a facelift starting in 2005 for this model. The G35 has less horsepower and more weight than the 350Z, so heads up if you go this direction. My next recommendation would be the Acura RSX Type S, which sold from 2002 to 2005. It is a front-wheel drive hatchback coupe. The rear seats are actually pretty spacious. It is capable of hauling larger items because of the rear hatch. This was the first introduction of the 200 horsepower K20A 4-cylinder, which replaced the Honda B-Series engine. It features iVTEC, which incorporates Honda's famous VTEC system with variable timing control and a redline of 8,000 RPM. A close ratio 6-speed manual with 4.3 final drive is the only transmission option. It received a facelift in 2005, which also included the K20Z1, which had a higher flowing intake, exhaust, and larger cam, increasing horsepower to 210. Which leads to another Honda offering, the 8th generation Honda Civic SI, which was sold from 2006 to 2011. It was offered as a coupe and a sedan. So choose whichever body style you like. The coupe should be lighter, but the sedan is more practical because of the 4 doors. The SI replaced the Acura RSX. For those that don't know, the RSX is the Integra, and Honda owns Acura, so it wouldn't make any sense for them to offer another RSX or Integra since the Civic is very similar. It now uses the front-wheel drive K20Z3 4-cylinder with an electronic throttle body and better intake manifold. It also revs to 8,000 RPM and produces 197 horsepower. The 6-speed manual is the only transmission option with a 4.7 final drive, and the great thing in this case is it includes a factory helical LSD. A facelift was implemented in 2009, including other aesthetic features. Like the RSX, the large aftermarket, cheaper parts, and large Honda community assures that you will be able to get support wherever you are. High horsepower front-wheel drive cars will have traction issues, so just be aware of this. The second generation Mazda Miata was sold from 1999 to 2005. This is the ultimate sports car with over 1 million sold worldwide. It's only offered as a rear-wheel drive roadster, but has a 50-50 weight distribution and independent suspension at all four corners. It's also lightweight and has great handling. Some may say it's a chick car and it's underpowered, but this is a great driver and track car. Power comes from a 1.8 liter 140 horsepower 4-cylinder, which was revised in 2001 to include VTC on the intake cam, which increased 2 horsepower. The aftermarket is large and parts are affordable because of this. It's not much of a drag racer, but you'll have fun on curvy roads. Now we move on to the V8s. The first is the Pontiac GTO, which sold from 2004 to 2006. It's a heavy coupe and has an independent rear suspension, which gives it good handling. The interior was much more refined for an American car, and that's because it was built in Australia. It was initially offered with a 5.7 liter LS1 V8 in 2004 with 350 horsepower. Then, in 2005, it received a facelift and the 6 liter LS2 with 400 horsepower. Pontiac doesn't exist anymore, but the GTO has a lot of potential due to the huge aftermarket for the LS-based V8 engines, which leads to some more Chevy offerings. The 2001 to 2002 Chevy Camaro Z28 or SS and Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. These two are based off of the same chassis, just a different design, so it's your preference on what you want to buy. They were sold starting in 1998, but I recommend buying the 2001 to 2002 mainly due to the LS6 intake manifold and clutch from the Corvette Z06. The 5.7 liter LS1 also received a 5 horsepower increase from previous years. There is a huge and cheap aftermarket for this chassis and engine. You will be in paralysis because of all the options you have from suspension, nitrous, strokers, superchargers, and turbo kits. I owned a 2001 Chevy Camaro SS in the past, and it was very reliable. I only filled it up and did oil changes and was getting 22 miles per gallon, which was awesome. Your mileage may vary. The only thing is that the interior is super cheap, which I should say the exterior is also, and the suspension is geared more towards straight line acceleration. It's not much of a handling machine, so if that's what you're looking for, then I'd choose something else. The last one on the list is an early 2000 C5 Corvette. It will most likely be a base model and not the Z06, but it does give you the opportunity for the huge aftermarket the Corvette offers. You'll get the LS1 V8 with around 350 horsepower and a 50-50 weight distribution. The interior is not the greatest, but performance per dollar is what the Corvette has always been known for. If you're going for a 2-seater sports car, then I'd choose this because of the larger aftermarket support, V8, durable 6-speed, power potential, and ability to put a larger tire on, because without traction, power is worthless. Those are the performance cars I'd recommend for under $10,000, which are fairly reliable. The cars I mentioned may have some small quirks, but the reality is nothing is perfect. Remember to do your due diligence and inspect the car thoroughly before you make a purchase. I know some of you may be upset because I didn't list maybe a Mustang GT or that one rare Evo that sold for $8,000. All hope is not lost, as I'll try to make a more extensive list in the future. Let me know what you'd recommend that's reliable for under $10,000 in the comment section below. Also, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for future content. I'll see you in the next one.